I'm Felicia.
And I'm Giancarlo.
And this is Gem Packed Cards.
The review of Gem Packed Cards. Now this guy, one of the designers, Eduardo Baraf, has his own review site.
Awesome. Oh yes, I think I have him on
Yeah, I think you do. I think you guys are friends.
Facebook, yeah.
Those reviews. I'm
But
sorry.
I have a question. Very cool. Like, I like the colors and stuff. Gem Packed Cards. I'm not sure about the name.
In Gem Pack cards, players will get gems, or geminos as the game calls them, and use them together to buy bigger gems and possibly get gold cards. Be the player with the most victory points when all the gemino tokens are gone, and you'll win. The board shown here is set up for a 3-player game. They'll draw 4 rocket cards face up, returning the others to the box. Below these will be the Nova, Sun, and Red Dwarf cards. The gold cards will create a deck, and a 3x3 grid will have been placed from these as shown. The gold-backed Gemino pip tokens, along with 10 random blue-backed ones, will be placed face down in a pile. Each player will draw 2 from the pile and keep them face up. Give each player a color combo card for easy reference, determine the first player, and you're ready to play.
At the start of a player's turn, before we talk about actions, the active player may choose to refresh the whole grid if there are 7 or more diamond gem cards. We'll talk about these a little later. Then the active player will draw 2 Gemino pip tokens and add them face up to her pool. Now she'll have a choice of actions that she can do in any order, and so many times as she wishes. She may choose to buy a square gem by paying 2 pip tokens, which will generate that color. For example, the primary colors, blue, red, and yellow, simply require 2 matching pip tokens. Secondary colors require 2 matching pip tokens, or 2 pips of different primary colors to make that color. For example, to buy a purple square, you'll need 2 purple pips or a blue and a red pip. This little fella is a wild and considered any color. For the purpose of buying a wild square gem, you'll need 4 pips or 2 wild pips and 1 wild pip and 2 other pips of any color. Buying diamond gems works exactly the same, however square gems need to be spent to acquire these. These combos are easy to remember by looking at the color combo reference card. It's important to keep in mind 2 things when buying gems. First is the number here will show you how many points they're worth at the end of the game. Secondly, the rocket cards drawn randomly during setup are like gold cards players can go for. First come, first served. These obviously will have points as well. Same applies for the Nova, Sun, or Red Dwarf card. All pips used will go face up in the common pool.
You can also trade in or sell any square gem cards for pip tokens. These work the same as buying, but in reverse. There might be times where it's strategic to lose some endgame points to get the required gems to beat your opponent to the rocket cards. Simply discard the card and get pips that the gem colors can generate from the common pool. Lastly, if a player didn't take an action, they may choose to instead draw a pip token. Obviously, this doesn't count as an action and therefore cannot be repeated like the others. At the end of the active player's turn, they'll refill any empty spaces on the grid. If an action card is drawn, resolve it immediately for all players, starting with the next player's turn first and going clockwise. These range from drawing pip tokens to chom it, making each player remove an adjacent card on the grid. These are then discarded. When the grid is filled, play passes to the next player. When the last pip token is taken, each player plays a final turn. The player with the most points at the end wins.
We can't help but compare this game to Splendor, though oddly enough, it's more luck-based, but is more of a brain burner as well. Trying to figure out what to sell to make the pips to buy a card is not always easy. So it has this weird thing where it looks like it's marketed for a younger crowd and is a filler game, yet has some more complexity than it seems at first glance. Interestingly enough, there's an app for this you can get on your phone, and I do think this game is more suited as that than a real-life card game. Now, that's not to say the game is bad. It works quite well. There's player interaction looking at what other players are going for, and you trying to get the jump on them by taking that card first. But that said, the luck factor is pretty big. I mean, some players will draw that wild pip and some won't. Some player will draw into the right gem card in the grid, some won't. So if it's a type of game that looks like a light filler and is with the luck factor, but has some puzzle-esque elements to it, if it's your thing, check out Gem Packed Cards. For us, it scores a 6 out of 10.
jams. To
Is
get
it kind
more
of like a
currency to
bejeweled?
make-
Like, no?
No.
Now she'll have a choice of actions that she can do in any order, and so many times as she wishes. Why am I saying she?
Because I like to do gender bias because everybody's losing their marbles.
LGBTQ, elemental PQ. Is everyone feel included now? They added a 2 at the end of the LGBT.
Are you
Q2. Yeah, they added a
serious?
Q and a 2. But I'm trying to understand what, like,
What is it?
Is it like the 2 girlfriends I have? Like, I don't know. Like,
What's Q? What's Q2?
Q2, we don't
Queer?
know. I think
No,
it's
queer's
maybe the
already
equality
there.
like this.